Namaste friends, welcome back to the Web Technologies video learning series. We are into our second lesson in HTML. The first lesson gave an introduction to HTML, a very high level what is HTML, what is HTTP, what is a client and a server, and so on and so forth. If you have not had a chance to go through it yet, please go through it because that is very important for understanding today's lesson. Today we will talk about a very high level structure of a HTML document. Okay. On the screen we have a very simple HTML document on the left hand side and its representation by a typical browser on the right hand side. This template on the left hand side will stay with us through the course of this lesson and many other lessons. We will keep improving this template as required for individual lessons, but overall template will remain the same. And this template will also be useful to you whenever you are making a HTML document yourself. You can see it started with a HTML word and ended with a HTML word. These are tags. We have seen these tags in our previous lesson as well. And then there are two parts of the whole HTML highlighted. One is called a header section, which is between the head tags, two head tags. And then there is a body section, which is between two body tags. The whole HTML document has two sections really within the HTML tag, header section and a body section. On the right hand side you can see how a browser will represent this document. You already are now familiar with that the tags are actually not shown to the user at the time of displaying the document. Rather they are used for the browser's consumption on how the document should be displayed. Let's go one step further and understand this HTML document. Now it's the same thing, same HTML document, but let's look at each of the individual tags. All the text that is within the less than and greater than symbol, they are called tags. This we have seen even in the previous lesson. We are officially defining it now. These are called tags and they indicate HTML markup. What examples or what tags do you see in this sample HTML document? There is a HTML tag, there is a head tag, there is a title tag, there is a body tag, there is a h1 tag. I'm going from top to bottom. There is a p tag, there is a I tag, there is that's it. You can wonder why I am not talking about the second head tag or the second p tag or the second body tag and so on. We will see about them. They are essentially the same tag. One is a beginning and the other is an end. Okay. Now there is one more which is in between a less than exclamation mark hyphen and hyphen greater than sequence. Anything between these two sequences is called a comment. This comment is useful for developers who are developing the web page to add some additional details on why the page is done the way that it is done. Any such comment is essentially ignored by the client. It won't be useful for rendering or any part displayed. At least that is how it is today. Previously there were cases where some comments were useful to have some new sequences, but that's a old history. Right now we, for all practical purposes and for our purposes of these lessons, these are pure HTML comments and they are ignored by the clients. Then the HTML documents start with a HTML tag and end with a HTML tag. The ending HTML tag has a forward slash in addition to the word HTML. We aware and then remember this thing. The first one is a beginning tag and the next one is an ending tag. Only the content in the body section, which is between the body tag in the line number 7 and the body tag in line number 16, is what is displayed to the user. Contents in the head section is not displayed at all. It is essentially meant for client's processing. Now there is a title tag that says my first HTML document. Where is this title? We said that user doesn't see it, clients do not show. Where does this title appear? The title appears as a part of taskbar if you are in Windows, or based on your operating system it may appear on the top of the browser tab, or the top of the browser window, or in the taskbar, but definitely not as part of the web page. Okay, that is the title. So this is an overview of a very simple HTML document. Let's move forward. We said there are tags in HTML. We have been talking about them for a while. Let's look at what they are. Tags in HTML are just markups. They convey special instructions about the content to the clients or browsers. We'll keep interchangeably using these two words, clients and browsers. For all practical purposes, they are same. I gave an example of when they are not same, but for our purposes of our lessons, they are same. So we keep using these two terms interchangeably. Okay, so the tags are essentially markup that contains special instructions to the client. What kind of special instructions? You see, line number 8 has a h1 tag. We said this is a markup. Client knows that h1 means it's a heading, first level heading. We'll know about h1 tag in a subsequent lesson, but this is an example of why and how a special tag means a special thing for the client. It knows immediately, looking at the h1 tag, that anything between the h1 tags in the line number 8 is a proper first level heading. Okay. Likewise, consider line number 10. Everything between the I tag, the first I tag and the last ending I tag is to be shown in italics. That's what the I tag means. So these are special instructions to the browser to display them. The browser uses information inside these tags to decide how to display or otherwise treat the subsequent contents of the document. It may not always be just a display. It may be, for example, the P tag in line number 9 and line number 11 just indicate that whatever follows is just a paragraph. It may not be useful. I mean, there is some information about a paragraph, but it is to be used for some other purposes also. Okay. The tags, by now you should be familiar, they are encoded between the less than and the greater than symbols in a HTML document. Okay. And then there are several standard tags that they have predefined meanings. We have seen, I gave an example of H1 being a first level heading, I being a italics and P being a paragraph. HTML language, in addition to talking about the semantics of the language, goes at length about defining individual tags and then what they should mean and how they should be implemented and how they should be displayed and so on and so forth. All these tags have predefined meanings. In fact, whenever somebody says they are learning HTML, most part of their learning, they will be learning about different tags and then how to use them. Now, let's look at a slightly different topic but related to tags, paired and unpaired tags. You will see on the right hand side that there are many tags. For example, you take line number 3 and line number 5. There is a head tag and then there is a head tag. The line number 3 is the beginning of a head tag and line number 5 is the ending for the same head tag. The ending is denoted by a forward slash. you can see another example, line number 7 and line number 17. They are body tags. The beginning body tag is in line number 7 and the ending body tag is line number 17. And one more example, line number 8 has the beginning and the ending h1 tags. Line number 9 has a beginning paragraph tag and 11 has an ending paragraph tag. Any such tag that has both the starting tag and the ending tag with the same name, they are called paired tags. What is a paired tag? Paired tag that has both starting tag and an ending tag. Such a thing is called a paired tag. Now, as we have seen in the last slide, the processing instructions for a paired tag impact all the content whatever is there between the starting tag and the ending tag. For example, we say that line number 7 has a body tag and it is ending in line number 17. So what it means is the client is to expect all the lines between 7 and 17, which means 8, 9 up to 16, all these lines are to be considered body. So any instructions that are to be followed for a body tag are to be applied between 8 and 16, inclusive of them, all of those lines. Okay. Now, there are other kinds of tags which do not have an ending tag. Consider line number 16 in the example on the right hand side. There is just a HR tag which stands for horizontal ruler. You will learn about it in probably one of the subsequent lessons. This horizontal ruler tag does not have an ending. It is a unpaired tag. Any tags that do not have an ending tag are called unpaired tags. Now, why do we have unpaired tags? This is more an aberration. The intent is always to have a proper paired tag. However, when the HTML standard is being defined and evolved, some mistakes crept into the standard. I would say mistakes because that's how I see them. They have been mentioned as such, where some tags have been left as unpaired tags, and then for backward compatibility supporting those unpaired tags had to be there for the clients, and therefore we have to learn about these unpaired tags. Now, some browsers, they are friendly towards missing ending tags in a HTML document. For example, you see the beginning HTML tag is line number 1, ending HTML tag is line number 19. If you want a proper fully conformant HTML document, both line number 1 and line number 19 are necessary in the HTML document. However, some browsers think they know exactly when the HTML document is ending, therefore they don't need line number 19 at all. So they don't care if line number 19 is there or not. Therefore, they just go ahead and then display the rest of the screen properly, rest of the page properly. Some browsers don't even care for line number 1 and 19. So these are browsers trying to be friendly. However, if you want full conformance to the standard, then these tags are still required in a HTML document. Then there are attributes. What is an attribute? We said each tag has a special meaning in HTML. For example, the body tag in line number 7 on the right hand side starts at line number 7 and ends at line number 17. Once the browser sees that there is a body tag, it knows exactly what it should do. Basically, we know that anything between the body tags is really the content to be displayed. But how does it display? There is a default mechanism. By default, if you don't say anything, then all the text is to be shown in black color. All the text is to be aligned to the left hand side. Likewise, there are some reasonable defaults. So even whenever browser sees a body tag, it uses these defaults and then shows them to the or renders the page to the user. Now attributes allow you to change these defaults. Attributes are those properties of the tags that can be used to customize the default behavior. Like I said, if you take a body tag, by default the background color of the page is white and the text color is black. But if you want to change them, how do you do it? Right? This is sometimes called styling, and these are some styling mechanisms that are available in HTML, but by and large styling is discouraged strictly in HTML in modern times, and all styling is relegated to CSS files, which we learn about in subsequent lessons. But because it is there in HTML standard, we need to learn, so we will learn, but do not try to apply them in a practical sense. You will use CSS for styling for all practical purposes. Back to our lesson. The body tag has a predefined meaning, but this meaning and behavior can be changed using body tags attributes. The example that you have shows them how to do it. If you want the body tag behavior to change, then we need to set the attributes. That's what we learned so far. But how do we set? The attributes are set using key is equal to value notation, where the key will be the name of the attribute and the value should be the value that we want to use for that particular key. Look at the example in line number 7. BG color is equal to blue. Blue defined in quotes. So BG color is the name of the attribute and blue is the value for the attribute. By and large, most of the values are to be defined in between double quotes. This is generally a given. Okay, so the name of the attribute in the example is BG color and the value being given to that attribute is blue. What does BG color mean? We'll see in one of the subsequent slides, but this essentially says render the background color of the page in blue and the color of the text should be in green, right? So that is what is the example. Sometimes some attributes may not have any value. Then just mentioning the key, which is the attribute name, is sufficient. Each tag, for example, we have seen the body tag has BG color attribute and text attribute. Can I use BG color for example, P tag? The answer probably is no. Each tag has its own set of attributes that it can support. For example, there may not be a background color for a paragraph. Actually, there is, but just for the argument's sake, right? So each tag has its own set of attributes that we can use. Any unsupported attribute, if you specify, then will be ignored. Likewise, each attribute has a set of values that you can use. For example, BG color is blue, but if somebody says BG color is equal to Rama is not a valid supported color. Therefore, such things are ignored. So each attribute has its own set of values that can be specified. These are attributes. Now let's look at the HTML tag, because we said that is a beginning. Right, so far we have seen the basic structure of a HTML document. We have seen tags, we have seen paired tags and unpaired tags, and we have also seen how to customize the default behavior that comes with each other tag. Now let's look at some of the very important tags in today's lesson. The very first one is a HTML tag. The HTML tag on the example on the right hand side is defined on line number 1 and line number 19. This tag is a parent tag. It is very clear now, right? Because it has two instances in the beginning and the end. These two tags, the beginning and the end tags, they delimit or they denote the beginning and the ending of a HTML document. Some browsers, like we have already discussed, can auto-infer these tags, meaning we don't need to specify these tags in a HTML document. The browsers can understand them, but it is a good practice to be using them properly in a HTML document. In between the HTML and beginning and the ending tags are the document's head and body, and this head is defined as head tag and body is defined via body tag. These two are the other very important tags that we should know, and we'll be learning them as part of today's lesson. Now the head tag. What is a head tag? Head tag really denotes a header section of the document. It is a parent tag. You can see in the example, it is starting on 3 and ending on line number 5. The head tag is really a container for the header section. Its purpose is to hold other tags that contain important processing information about the rest of the document. Okay. Why don't I see all those tags in the example? Because all those tags are optional. No need to mention each tag every time. We should use a tag only if we need to use them. Otherwise, that is not required to be used. But the head tag is a placeholder or the container for all the important meta tags or important processing information tags that should be applicable for all the content in the document. Again, some browsers do not need these tags, but then we should use the head tag properly in a HTML document, and that is considered good practice. What are the important tags that can be defined inside the header section? There is a title tag, there is a link tag, there is a script tag, meta tag, and a style tag. A title tag, you can see there, it's there as an example, line number 4. It defines the title of the document. The place where this title is displayed depends on the operating system and depends on the browser. Sometimes they get displayed on the top window name of the browser. Sometimes it is a tab name of the browser if you have a multi-tabbed window scheme, and more or less it should get displayed in the taskbar if you are using Windows. Okay. Now there is a link tag. This link is a reference to an external file. If you are ever referenced to an external file, it may be a CSS file, it may be a JavaScript file, then such links are referred to with the link tag. We'll know more about them in either the CSS lesson or the JavaScript lesson. Script tag indicates what JavaScript should be used within this HTML document. More on this script tag in our JavaScript lesson. Style tag indicates what are the styles that should be used in the HTML document, and we'll know more about the style tag when we go to CSS lessons. Finally, the meta tag indicates all the data information that browsers and servers should know about this file, and this is one that is used for Google searches. For example, Google searches rely, or any other web searches rely on the information in the meta tag for identifying the content in the web page. Let's look at the body tag. The body tag is a parent tag. We know this already. The beginning in line number 7, ending tag in line number 17. Then the body tag, just like the head tag, it is a container for all important processing information. The body tag is a container for the body, which is really the meat of the document. It holds all the content that is required to be visually presented to the user. It also contains markup tags. For example, you can see there is a header tag in line number 8, there is a paragraph tag in line number 9, and so on and so forth. The body tag has several attributes. We'll see in the next slide. Several attributes that control how the document is presented. Now, there are several standard tags is what this really means. Why I am saying standard? Because each browser can support some additional non-standard tags that allow you to tweak the presentation further. For the purposes of our lesson, we will consider the standard tags. The table on the top is giving out various tags, various attributes for the body tag, and what kind of values that they can use. In the below, you have an example of using most of the attributes. The BG color attribute we have already used. It should contain the color if we use a color of the background that should be used, right? If you specify BG color, then the browser will use the color specified via this attribute to for as a background for the web page. Now you can also link an image as a background by using the background attribute. Then there is a text attribute which indicates the color to be used for the text of the web page. And there are 3 A-link, V-link and link attributes. These are essentially names of the colors to be used for different links on the web page. If there is a link that you have already visited and is part of the history, then the color indicated by the V link will be used to show that link on the web page. For example, if you have a web page that you have already visited and that link to that web page is on the screen, then mostly you will see that this link is shown in dark purple color. That is a visited link. If you don't specify anything, that is how generally the dark purple color is used to display a visited link. Any non-visited links will show up in the color indicated by link attribute. Okay. And finally, the A-link attribute indicates the color of the active link. What is an active link? Active link is which is currently under the mouse. Okay. Typically, this is shown in blue color, and so is link. Link and A-link by default are shown in blue color. Of course, we can change the styles using these attributes in the body tag. Okay. Now, a very important note about the colors. The colors are specified in typically 2 forms. There is a set of names, for example, green, white, and black, and so on and so forth. But then there is also a means which is called RGB value, which is just a number that indicates various colors. Each color has a number, and those hex numbers are to be used if you want to have a finer control on the actual color to be used. We'll know about this, we'll study about these color values when we go to CSS lesson. Okay. Let's look at what we have learned today. The HTML document start with the HTML tag and end with the HTML tag. These 2 HTML tags denote the beginning and end of the HTML document. They are the delimiters. Then the tags are really markups that contain special instructions. We have seen plenty of examples. Tags may be paired or unpaired. The head tag is a container for header section, and all the tags within the head tag, if there are any, are meant for the complete document as opposed to a specific part of the document. The body tag is a container for the body section. This is what is presented to the user, and the body section also contains the markup tags which are meant to indicate how the document should be displayed. As a final note of caution, I mentioned this already. Even though we study quite a bit about the colors and all those things as part of HTML, we are studying them because they are still part of HTML. But then the current best practice or the current recommended practice is not to use HTML for the styles. Instead, use the CSS. We'll learn about CSS in one of our CSS lessons, but we'll learn about different styling aspects as provided by HTML. But practically speaking, do not use this as part of your HTML pages. HTML should be used to define the content and define the structure, whereas CSS should be used to define the presentation and the styling. Thank you. We'll meet each other in our next lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.